Welcome back, guys. It's the next episode of Orbital. This week we're talking about the Portland game, the Nets game, and the Bulls game this past week with the Rockets. First, we'll do a little recap of all the games, and then we'll kind of break them down, see what we saw. This week we don't have Rourke, so it's just me and Ayers, so maybe we'll get into a little more debating stuff. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens, but let's get into it. So, first off with the Blazers game, that is another loss for the Rockets. Anthony went 2 for 12 from the field. Capella did have a 14-14 game, so we were starting to see some improvements with him. And then Gordon had another struggling night, 4 for 18 from the field. Ayers, what did you see in that game that you didn't really like, and then stuff that you did like?
Well, let's just start. Once again, we scored 15 points in the and I when I was watching that game, both teams were missing tons of shots and everything. So both teams were a little off defensively, or off offensively. Sorry,
Yeah.
It was just another struggling night. Weren't hitting shots at all. Just had tons of mindless turnovers from that game. That's another thing this year. We've been sort of loose with the ball in recent games, especially in this one. But yeah, Gordon we saw struggle. We saw Carmelo struggle. The whole team, sort of as a whole, kind of struggled. So there wasn't like one particular player that they can really weed out there. Just the whole team came out flat, just from the jump, really. I'm really liking what I saw from Capella in that game. He's being more aggressive in the paint, which you like to see. Pick and rolls. He's rolling hard. But once again, Eric Gordon. I'm still seeing him force shots, which I don't want to see. I feel like we're taking shots a little too early in the shot clock. We're not really getting set too much. So it seems like the offense is a little rushed. Once again, we don't really have any momentum on the offensive side yet, or any cohesion, to be honest with you. So, that game was just really upsetting to watch. I couldn't really watch it anymore. Our defense has sort of just has really been inconsistent. I mean, it was really good last night against the Bulls, allowing only 88 points. But right now, if you look at the stats, right now we're sitting at tied for 17th in total defense, allowing 112 points a game. We're only scoring 106.
Actually, like hearing you say that actually makes me feel better about the Rockets' defense, surprisingly, because last week we were like in the last 10 of the NBA, and so now, I mean, 17th is nothing to be celebrating, but at least like you're not like in the last 5, right? And considering how much, I think like the reason why Rockets' defense is so bad, I think, is if you watch it, like Carmelo's getting targeted every time down, and they're just forcing so many switches. And I think that's the biggest difference from last year's team to this year's team is that we can't switch anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we have him, and he's really slow. Like,
but to be honest with you, these last couple games
now. How old is Melo now? He's past
34.
34. Okay, 34. So he's never been really athletic, and so defense has never been as strong. So I'm not trying to like bring that into a new point, but considering how much like he's getting switched onto, I think 17th is better than I expected you to say, right? I guess is what I'm trying to get to. But I don't know. Like, yeah, again, like I really thought that was going to be a game that we could get if Gordon kind of gets with it a little bit more and can kind of lock in and make shots. And again, I completely agree. I think he's forcing too many shots. He always has a tendency of kind of doing what Harden and CP do, and then just taking a couple dribbles on the perimeter and then taking a step back or just shooting a 3. And I don't think that's his game.
And he tends to challenge a lot of centers too, because you realize he gets blocked a ton at the rim.
Yeah.
So he's just, I don't know. I think he just needs to, I guess, kind of take his time a little bit. I mean, I think he's rushing a little too much.
Yeah. And I think if you want, like, when I watch the Rockets games and I see Eric Gordon make a shot, it's always, I mean, sure, he makes his outside shot sometimes, right? But I'm seeing a lot of them on the inside, or I'm seeing more on the inside, right? And as a fan, I see those and my eyes like light up, and I'm like, okay, yes, he's gonna make that shot. So maybe we need to use him more as that. Like if he's kind of a backup tweener between the point guard and shooting guard. We kind of use him that way as a ball handler off the bench. Using him in that regard, I want him going to the rim more, and I don't want him shooting as many threes unless you have Harden and CP out there to draw so much attention away from him and give him open shots.
I mean, if he's going to go to the rim, I want to see him yam it, to be honest.
Absolutely. I want Skinny Gordon back.
Yeah, you can still do that. So, he's being aggressive. I need more aggression from him and just to play smarter, to be honest. He's play a lot smarter than we all know he can be. So
his body language seems so off right now.
Yeah, it does. And he complains a ton about calls. Like, usually, like, when he's complaining, he doesn't get back on defense. So
yeah.
But actually, from what I'm seeing from Melo, though, is actually not too bad at defense. He's staying in front of his man. I agree. He gets switched on, and he's not doing too bad. I remember I saw a block. I forget who he blocked. I think it was D'Angelo Russell on the layup.
Yeah.
And yeah, he blocked him. So I mean, I'm seeing pretty.
I think I do remember this from the Twins for the next game.
And I've just been he's been anticipating pretty well. But yeah, that Trailblazer game was a mess. I think one of our worst games of the season. Definitely.
I think it was our worst loss.
Yeah, our worst loss of the season so far. But right now, I mean, you look, we're 25th in total offense at the moment, putting up 100.
Wait, actually, I feel like it's the second worst because Pelicans.
Yeah.
Did they beat us by like 30?
Never mind.
Might be second worst.
I try to put that out of my memory.
Yeah, so. Just suppress that one. Suppress that one. Doesn't matter. Who cares? This is the worst one.
Never talking about it ever again.
Never talking about it again. Never ever again. But yeah, so you brought up D'Angelo Russell. I guess that segues us into the Nets game. That is the second win for the Rockets on the year. Paul dropped 32, 7, and 11 in that game. Gordon, again, kind of struggled. Still dropped 21, but it took him 14 shots and 6 makes to do it.
Yeah.
And then Anthony had 28 off the bench, which is really great to see from him. Even though it is just an Eastern Conference kind of bottom-feeding team, it's still good to see him put the ball in the basket and get some confidence in him.
You know, and that game was just felt good to get a win again. And I think when you're losing so much, it really impacts the locker room. It impacts the entire just mood of the whole organization. So I think it was really good that they just got that win. Some sort of a momentum. We need any type of momentum right now.
Yeah.
We're definitely not where we need where the Rockets need to be. They're nowhere where they need to be. So it was just good to get a win. Watching Chris Paul was just an absolute treat. He was amazing out there. I remember that one move he had against who was it, Jared Allen.
Oh yeah.
He missed a 3, but that was a great move.
He was playing with him like kind of all night. Like he always does his little like dribble step side into the corner, like kind of no exit shot. But I remember seeing he did like the pass behind the back like Curry did to it was McCollum who did it to Gortat last year.
Yeah.
Kind of pass behind the back. I love that.
I think Manu Ginobili did the same type of move to Dirk Nowitzki.
Oh really?
Wait, no. Whoa. No. Was it? No, it was someone else. I think it was Chris Kaman who did it too.
That's probably Chris Kaman.
It was when he was on Monster Ginobili had that. Oh man, it was a treat.
I'm missing Manu this year. I'm missing Manu this year.
Oh, Sam. I'm really missing him.
John Bosa's favorite player, by the way, just for the record. Manu Ginobili, favorite player.
But yeah, so you look at the minute breakdown. Something that was really surprising to see was how many minutes PJ Tucker got.
Almost 39 minutes. Jeez, they needed him though.
Yeah, they definitely.
Because it was close. It was a close game. That's what kind of made me angry, even though watching it, like I know we're gonna win, but I'm still upset that like this is an Eastern Conference bottom feeder, and it's close. Like a W is a W, but in my mind it doesn't make them like, oh, the Rockets are waking up. Like I'm still like, you need a lot of work because if you can't,
of course,
you can't beat that team. You're like maybe top 15 teams in the league.
Yeah, I mean it was good to see the offense though click in some sort of way. Players, I mean Carmelo Anthony was just on fire, and he's been really impressing so far. I think in the last. God, I saw a stat on ESPN. I think it's like the last 5 games. He's putting up 20. He's shooting like 40-something% from 3. So right now it's good to see an efficient Carmelo Anthony. You see him; he's coming into his own role right now. I think he's getting comfortable as each game goes by. And I think maybe at some point we should probably start him. We should insert him in the starting lineup at some point.
Yeah.
Just by the way he's playing right now, I don't think it matters if he comes off the bench or not. But it's just good. I mean, he's putting that stuff up off the bench, which is really, really, really impressive. So, yeah. What do you think?
I don't. I'm actually going to disagree. I don't think we should start him, but I think we should keep playing him the same amount of minutes.
Okay.
Because I think if you're coming off the bench, your biggest thing, like, okay, so if you're a starter, right? Like, your biggest thing is like, I'm a starter. I'm gonna play minutes. Kind of like, so Dirk had an interview this past off season talking about him coming off the bench, and he was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it because I won't be able to miss as many shots because I won't have as many minutes, right? And so I think it's the biggest psychological thing between starting and coming off the bench is that when you start, you have the opportunity to start a little bit slower. Like, it's okay if you miss a couple shots, right? Like, but if you're coming off the bench, you're like, okay, I've had time to watch the game. You have time to feel it out a little bit. You need to start planning where you're going to be and kind of go in and execute that and be ready to go, right?
Yeah. But my argument for putting Carmelo in now is my whole thing, and I've been emphasizing it the whole entire.
Actually, wait, one sec. I want to finish my point because I didn't really get to my real point of it. So what I was going to say is, like, even if he comes off the bench, as long as we play him enough minutes, he has time to miss shots, is what I was trying to get at, right? So if we still play him, like, because I think he's playing 28, 29, 30 minutes a game, he now has time to miss shots, but he still comes off the bench, so you have two punches off the bench once Gordon gets his groove going a little bit more. That's what I was trying to get at. So,
okay. I mean, just my argument for putting him in is it all goes down to just the fast starts in the first quarter, which was our trademark last year. And every time Melo comes off, I mean, he comes out firing, comes out shooting right out of the gate. And so I feel like he'd be a nice spark to put in the starting lineup because I don't think James Ennis can give that to you necessarily. I mean, Melo's just like an offensive powerhouse, and so. Sometimes I think we need to put him in just to get that fast start. Once again, there could be a defensive letdown there, but I just so far I've not seen a fast start. It's just always like either a 2-point game after the first quarter. It's never a double-digit lead, and so I mean we just have to we're having to find a momentum somewhere in the middle of the game, and we came out firing in the third quarter, which was really good to see. But I mean that I don't know. I would like to see Melo in there just to get the fast starts going. So we'll see.
Does he still play a lot of minutes, or do you like stagger him more? Like, so let me give you an example. So Melo starts, right? So usually what's going on is like. When I'm watching the game, so I stream them on my laptop just so I don't have to deal with like what station is it on, right? So when I'm watching, usually by like the first or second commercial break, right, about like 4 or 5 minutes into the first quarter, Melo's already in after the commercial break, right? So I'm noticing that. So he's still coming in kind of quickly. Now, if you were to start him, would you take him out kind of like 6, 7 minutes in and give him more rest and like stagger him like that, so you have him in there so we can make shots and then bring Ennis or Tucker and stagger them and bring defense? Now it's a really complicated question.
No, that's what I'd like. I mean, because you get like, I'd like to see him staggered a little bit more instead of coming in for like long periods of time and then going out for long periods of time. You know,
okay.
I want like sort of shorter rest for him. And you
tag in, tag out kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So you bring in the defense pretty fast. So yeah, that's where I sort of stand on it.
Okay,
for sure.
Makes sense. I like the idea of having like him coming off the bench. If he stays like this and we just keep his minutes high, right? I think
he'll be happy no matter what. But I don't know. I would like to see him in the starting lineup just because he's Melo, and I need to start seeing the fast starts in the first quarter. I haven't seen that yet.
Maybe there's like a way for them to start Ennis and get people cold.
I'm waiting for that one game.
And then bring him in. You know what I mean? Like bring defense in for like the first 5 minutes. Get people like contested shots, not making a whole bunch, and then you bring them out. Maybe that's how you do it. Maybe I don't know if that would work. These are NBA players. They're I don't think 5 minutes affects their confidence, but maybe that's what you do. But Paul's night was amazing, right? We talked about Jared Allen moves. He was so on fire the entire night. And it was amazing to watch.
Hitting buzzer beaters, too. Looked great from mid-range from 3. Was just doing it all. And honestly, that game was the best game just in terms of moving the ball. And because I remember when Mel was getting all those shots, we're whipping it around. So definitely that game was definitely our smoothest game on offense for sure so far. But yeah, Paul was just absolutely amazing to watch. Was just on fire. He was in his zone.
He gets so many rebounds for being like 6 foot.
Being a little guard, it's true. He's really feisty. Really good on the defensive side as well. I forgot how many steals he had that game, but
I don't know.
He was great on both ends of the floor. Capella also put up a double-double that game.
Yeah.
So
what did he have? He had 11 rebounds that game, or how many rebounds?
Capella had 12.
12 rebounds, how many points?
12 and 12.
12 and 12. Okay. He likes matching those. He likes matching those a lot. 14, 14, 12 and 12.
Ennis put up 15 that game too.
15 and 7. No. That was against the Bulls. He put up 15 and 17. 15 minutes in 15 points in 17 minutes against the Bulls, which was another win for them. They beat the Bulls last night. Not as close of a game, which was really nice to see. They really definitely pulled away from them in the early fourth. Then it kind of got closer, but then they just blew them up. But Harden and Ennis both come back, or are both back now in that game. Harden drops 25 and 7 in his return. Ennis, like I said, 15 points in 17 minutes. Anthony had 17.
He didn't play in that Nets game. Sorry, I was confused. He did. Wait, no, he did play in the Nets game.
Yeah, he was back. He was back in that game.
Sorry, he put up 2 in 19 minutes, but this was a lot better.
He's looking good now that he's back, which is really nice to see. From a scoring option, he was really good. Carmelo against the Bulls had 17 and 7 off the bench, which is really nice to see. He had a really efficient night against both these Eastern Conference teams, the Bulls and the Nets, which you can kind of attribute to they're not as good defensively teams. So I don't know if you read too much into it, but it is really nice to see him put up numbers on an efficient level. And same with Harden. It's really good to see him back. He didn't seem he didn't seem like he was rubbing too much rust off. If you know what I mean.
He didn't get to the free throw line that much either.
Yeah.
But he was shooting really well from downtown. He was sizing his defender up, and God, when he's on fire, it's crazy. There's nothing you can do about it at all. So yeah, he had a great game.
You know who I really liked watching the Bulls though is Hutchinson.
Yeah, he's a great player.
Hutchinson. He doesn't do a whole bunch, but defensively, he's got a long wingspan, all that good stuff. And Karis LeVert too. Karis LeVert, people already talked about how great of a season he's having, but he is having a really nice season, and it's really awesome to see him do so well.
The Bulls are way too young right now.
Yeah, too young.
They're just way too young, so I don't know where they're at, but they'll be fine. They've got some good young talent. Who else was I enjoying watching last night? What's his name? I'm trying to remember. Wendell Carter.
He's really
nice.
Good.
He's nice. But something. Who's been sort of struggling is Gerald Green.
He's been having a really bad year. Let's talk about that, but I kind of want to segue this a little bit too, and we can talk about it at the same time. Is J.R. Smith wanting to trade from the Cavs? Because Bleacher Report let out an article talking about potential trade packages for him, and the Rockets are one of them, right? But they suggested we give up Brandon Knight, which for salary cap reasons, you got to do that. Plus, Brandon Knight's a younger player, so Cavs are probably more interested in him than they would be in Gerald Green. But I'm wondering if you maybe try and package Gerald Green in there for another piece of them. And
for the Cavs, who are you thinking?
Sam Decker.
You want Sam Decker back?
I want Sam Decker back, and here's why. So, the Rockets are missing a lot of things. One is length and capable defenders, right? We gave up Bamute, Ariza. We kept Tucker. Those were our three like best perimeter paint mixed defenders last year. Now, Sam Dekker is nowhere near the caliber defender as them. I don't even think he's a caliber of defender, right? Like, he's not known for that at all. But if nothing else, he is 6'9", 6'10", has a wingspan, and is athletic. So he can move, and if you get him in a position where, like, okay, we need you to do this, and maybe stick him at power forward. Maybe stick him at power forward to back up Tucker more, and just be a lengthy defender that you play with Ennis. Maybe that's what he does. And Capella. You kind of surround him with better defenders, and then he becomes a better defender, better help defender, right? But he's a low salary. You package them. You give the Bulls a vet in Gerald Green that's going to explain to the young guys and might be more willing to take a bench role than J.R. Smith is. Plus, you get rid of Brandon Knight's contract, get J.R.'s back, but you also get a low salary in Sam Dekker. But I think you add a level of veteran talent in J.R. Smith that you don't have right now since Brandon Knight's injured and Gerald Green's performing badly. And then you get Sam Dekker, who I just want to see him back in a Rockets uniform because I think we can better use him this time around.
Yeah, that's an interesting. That's an interesting.
I've not put it through the ESPN trade simulator, but maybe if otherwise you're doing Brandon Knight for J.R. Smith straight up. But I think if you want to move on from Gerald Green, which may not be a good option since he is from Houston, maybe it's not a good PR move. I'm not sure, but he has been struggling.
I mean that is interesting for sure. I know one thing. I know Daryl Moore is definitely looking at the roster right now, seeing what he needs to do. So I think there's going to be, in my prediction, I think there's going to be another trade offer for Jimmy Butler. I think there's going to be one more. We'll see. Because, I mean, the asking price for Jimmy Butler at the moment is so steep for every team.
I think they're betting on him getting fired. I think they're betting on Tibbs getting fired and then getting Butler. Because you aren't going to get a better option than 4 first-round picks.
I know. I was truly shocked because I thought, I was like, oh man, Jimmy Butler's definitely coming to Houston.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, we talked about it with the whole Jimmy Butler stuff. Just discussing if 4 first-round picks was too much. I know that 2021 pick is probably the most important one right there.
But it would have to be included in there too.
Yeah, it have to be, which is tough. So I think Daryl Morey is definitely looking at every situation for sure. My prediction, I think we're definitely going to get another defender somewhere in the season. And then once again, you still have to keep looking at Trevor Ariza for buyouts with him.
Dude,
so
Trevor, every night I'm praying.
If it came down to it, I'd rather have Trevor Ariza over Sam Dekker.
I would love to have Trevor Ariza back.
Absolutely. I mean, I would love to have him back.
I would love to have opening night Trevor Ariza, like for the entire season.
I mean, it would be perfect if we kept Trevor, added Carmelo, started Trevor, and had Carmelo off the bench. I think that would be the most ideal team. That would be the most ideal team that I would want.
It's making me sad thinking we don't have Trevor.
Oh, I know. It's very sad. It's very sad. It's a long season.
My favorite.
It's still in the beginning. There's still tons of. I mean, I think. Did we make any moves? What was our big move last year? Did we make any moves at the trade deadline?
No, that was the one thing. We made no moves. For one of the first times in Morey's tenure, we did not make a move.
But I think this year is definitely a year that we'll be making moves.
Oh, absolutely.
So that'll be exciting to look out for.
Trade deadline, we didn't make any moves. We did do buyouts and stuff with Brandon Wright and Joe Johnson, whatever.
But I want to see what it would be like with Brandon Knight back in the lineup.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of interested to see what he brings. Because one, he's a really good shooter. I've mentioned that before. Really, really good shooter. I don't know how exactly I can't remember. Is he a good defender?
Not necessarily. He's only 6'3". He doesn't really have a bunch of a wingspan.
Yeah.
He's mostly offense. Plus, I think the logic here is you get Brandon Knight, right, which is kind of more of a future piece than anything because he is still kind of young. But I think if you get JR, right, JR, while not used this way in Cleveland, isn't a bad ball handler, right? And if you pair him with Gordon and Melo off the bench, well, that is a terrible defensive lineup, probably, depending on who you pair with them otherwise. While it's not a good defensive lineup, that lineup Gordon can handle, JR can handle, Melo can ISO, and all of them are kind of like spark plug scorers. So
That's true.
and plus you can play JR at the 2 or the 3. I think that's the bigger part. You can play JR at the 2 or the 3. You don't have to play him like Brandon Knight, which is just like the 1 or the 2. You know what I mean?
So wait, so you put Brandon Knight at the 1?
Well, I'm saying because if we're rolling like Gordon, Knight, Anthony off the bench, yeah, you go Knight at 1, Gordon at 2, and Melo at the 3. You do that, or you put him at the 4, stagger him, however you want to do it with Gary Clark and at the 3, whatever. But you put JR in there, and now you've kind of got what we had with Lou Will and Eric Gordon. If they were to play in the same minutes, is like they're interchangeable between a ball handler and off guard.
Yeah. No, that'd be interesting. One thing though with JR is he has worse shot selection than Eric Gordon.
It's true. That is very true. That's very true.
This is really bad shot selection. And so like our whole thing was, and we which is really, really, really weird because our whole offense is predicated on getting open shots, open threes, and we just have not been getting that at all this year. So I don't know if you bring in a guy like J.R. Smith, I just think that makes it a lot worse. He's going to be pulling from, way downtown with a hand in his face.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we need another player like that to pair alongside Gordon. Just two players just taking wild shots.
That's a good point. That's a good point to bring up. But I will bring up the counterpoint that Houston sometimes makes the best of those kind of players. So there's also that part.
Oh, you froze on me a little bit.
You good? You froze too. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, cool. Did you hear what I said or no?
I completely missed it.
Okay, so what I was saying is that, like, Houston kind of makes the best of those players. Like Michael Beasley was thought of as like a head case, irrational confidence kind of player, and he did really good.
Yeah.
Besides him, I don't really have a bunch of like Gerald Green too. Gerald Green can be kind of thought of that as well, and he was just on fire. So maybe putting JR in a more spreaded system.
Can't forget about Josh Smith. Sorry.
Josh Smith.
Sorry.
The legend.
Sorry. Yeah.
Josh Smith. Yes. No, you were completely right. It's a great example of it. It's a great example.
Yep.
Again, all these players kind of revived their. You take crazy shots. Well, cool. Now your crazy shots are wide open.
That's true.
Chris Paul,
but the only thing is we have the whole year we haven't been getting wide open shots at all. So
maybe you just add more 3-point shooters. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
What I don't think they're going to do is go after Kyle Korver. They're definitely not going to go after Kyle Korver.
Nah.
Because I know the Cavs are trying to play. What reports are saying is they're trying to trade him first because he's the easier contract, $7 million, whatever. But I think Philly's probably going to go after him more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think. Kyle Korver is a really good shooter, but once again, he's a defensive liability. So I don't know if you want to.
There were a couple years where he was like a great help defender.
Yeah,
and then they're just gone.
Yeah, that's gone. So we need a good 3-and-D guy. I don't know who that will be, but you just never know. You never know with buyouts. I'm hoping there's a way we can get Trevor Ariza there. Back to Houston.
Here's the real question. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
No, that's fine. No, it's okay.
Is he going to want to come back to Houston?
That's interesting. I mean, I don't think he ever had a problem, but I remember in his press conference he did say that it was nice to go somewhere where you feel appreciated.
Yeah.
You remember he said that, which was really weird.
Yeah. Trevor, if you're watching
I think everyone appreciated Trevor Ariza.
As a fan, everybody appreciated you. I just want you to know. I don't know where you're getting this information from.
Yeah, I don't know either. So maybe there's somewhere in the locker room.
But we love you, Trevor. There's no chance he's watching this. But if you are, we love you. Please come back.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one thing where I know Maury's been criticized for this before, is treating the players like just as assets. I know he's been criticized about that before.
That's a big gripe I have.
I think that was if Trevor Ariza was sort of feeling that way. I don't know. So, but I've heard that before from players sometimes leaving the Rockets organization. But we'll see. Well, I don't know if Trevor Ariza has a problem with the organization. I don't know why he would. I think the fans embrace him a ton. So I don't know why he wouldn't want to come back to
We
this
love
team.
having him here.
But this team is still such a long way from being where they need to be.
Yeah.
There's a ton they need to fix on both ends. It's just we haven't seen a complete game from them at all. Good defense, good offense at the same time. It's either been terrible offense or really good defense, really good offense, and terrible defense. So
I think it's important to know because one, like I kind of said, like their wins have only come against the Nets, the Bulls, and the Lakers, who are struggling right now. Those are the only 3 wins, and all the other losses are against more established teams. Right? Portland didn't really make a bunch of moves; they know who they are. Clippers are just a solid team from top to bottom, and then Pelicans just came out the gates on fire. So I think you look at like their wins are against bad teams, so which makes me think they're not a top 10 team in the league right now, or at least not playing like it.
No.
But I'm also not going to be blind to the fact that like you lose to Portland by 19. No one can tell me that you add James Harden into that game, and we don't make up those 19 points somehow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or we don't stop one of their players from going off by getting them in foul trouble because James Harden's playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the Portland game doesn't really bother me too much. The other games that Harden has been out, I think, if Harden's out, you have to account for at least 25 to 30 points that you're going to miss on that regard. And then you have games where Chris Paul is out, and you're going to miss at least 20 to 25 points from him. Mm-hmm. So when I'm watching games we're losing with one of them out, I'm thinking, okay, by how much did we lose? If you add Chris Paul, is that really a win? And most of the times it is. If you really want to think about it, if you think about it that way, which is how I'm thinking about it, I think a lot of these are actual wins. And you just need the whole team back.
Yeah, I mean, we are 3-1 with Chris Paul, James Harden, Clint Capella all playing.
Exactly.
So I guess you look at the only bad loss that we had with all those players in the game was the first game of the season against the Pelicans, where we got blown out. But that is an interesting point. The team hasn't had a chance yet to play together as a whole, healthy in there. Yeah. So so far with the whole team back, we've won.
3-1.
That's interesting. We're 3-1.
Absolutely.
So I think this Pacer game is going to be really important because the Pacers aren't too bad.
No,
they're not a bad team at all. So I think this is going to be a really good test just to see where we kind of are as a complete team. Not a team with one star missing or whatever. To see how this team really plays with everyone in the roster in the starting lineup. So I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see, interesting to watch. But Harden is such a big part of our offense. So missing him for a couple games is huge. We'll have to see.
Next week we play Indiana on Monday. Tomorrow. We play at OKC to finish off the 5-game road trip on Thursday, and then we play San Antonio. Actually, we play at San Antonio. That's the finish of the 5-game road trip.
That'll be also a good game. So this is going to be an interesting stretch right here. All games on the road.
Yeah.
Which
they got to get at least 2 of them. So. They got to get at least Indiana. I think they got to get at least 2 of them. I don't know which 2 you want to get because all those teams pose more of a threat than a struggling Lakers, bottom-feeding Nets, and bottom-feeding Bulls team do. All those teams kind of do that. But if you can carry what you have now, past 2 games, into like a 3rd or 4th straight win and then maybe drop a game to San Antonio at the end of the week, that's not a huge failure. It's progress. But ideally, obviously, you want to win every game, but whatever.
Yeah. I want to see just a complete offensive explosion. I think they have it in them.
I want to see Eric Gordon.
I want to see Eric Gordon go off.
Do like a pseudo Klay Thompson,
Exactly. And he was that. Eric Gordon was that type of player the first year that he came. Because remember, he kind of struggled a little bit from 3 last year, but the first year with the Rockets, he was just on fire.
Yeah,
and then he won the
it was great.
3-point contest as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with them. But the whole team is still in sort of a funk. But right now we got all of our stars back. the leaders are back on the floor. So, we're just gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see how this team progresses. A season is long. It comes with its trials and tribulations.
Sure.
So, I'd rather be bad in the beginning than later in the season.
That's true. That's true. I want them to gel. Gary Clark has been doing really good. I've really been enjoying, because the Rockets don't usually play really young players. They don't necessarily do that, but I'm really glad to see him playing and getting confidence and knocking down shots. That's the biggest thing. Like, he, not on the level of Troy Daniels by any means, but like seeing him play minutes and do really well is really nice to see.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a guy from Cincinnati, was just an all-defensive pro in college. Best defender on his team for sure at the University of Cincinnati. So is a really capable three-point shooter. So, and in a way, he's sort of like he's a young Ariza in a way. Just the way he's such a good defender if you watch him move his feet and how he anticipates. But he's also he's a really good shooter too. So he's going to be. I mean, he's an undrafted player that we picked up. So that's really surprising to see this undrafted player get this many minutes each game. So yeah, I'm really liking what I'm seeing from him. So yeah.
Great. What was the last thing we wanted to talk about?
Let me think here.
We talked about Gary Clark. We talked about the games next week. We talked about this games. Talked about notes about him.
Any news here? Any rumors?
Just the JR right now, and then Jimmy Butler as well. But it's not a big thing anymore.
Let's talk about what Harden was wearing last night of the game. Did you see that? Did you see the breakdown of what he was wearing?
No, I did not.
All the clothes he was wearing.
What did he wear?
He was wearing
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up while you watch. But describe it to me.
No, it was like this NASA tracksuit that had his jacket was over $1,300. Shoes were $750. It was one of the most expensive outfits I've ever seen. It was ridiculous.
I'm just seeing his MVP award outfit right now. Okay, to return against Bulls. I would like to see his outfit, please. Okay. Cal themed?
It was a NASA themed outfit. It was I saw a post where it broke down the cost of each article of clothing, and it was crazy.
Harden likes to he likes to do that. He likes to be out there a little bit.
One thing our team does not lack, though.
That is style. That is very true. Clint does a lot of that too. Clint, did you? Okay, I don't know. But when I was streaming the game last night against the Bulls, some fan yelled at Clint. They were like, "Did you burn your hair with a hair straightener?"
The Bulls fans were pretty wild last night. They were like, I
heard more fans than I expected. To be honest.
Heard one clip of a fan saying, "Harden, you'll never get a ring. Shave your beard. You look so dumb." Scream that. The Bulls fans were pretty wild last night, but
I hope Damian Lillard. I don't know when Dame goes to Chicago, but I want them to do it again, and maybe he drops 60 or something. I don't know. Yeah, he had a crazy game this week because of a fan or something.
But here's one thing, another thing that I wanted to get into. Our free throw shooting is also an area of much improvement.
Yeah.
I forget what we shot yesterday. It was not good as a team. But the Bulls, here's one thing. The Bulls were, I think, 26 of 27. They only missed one free throw last night.
Yeah.
And we were that's another thing. We need to limit the fouls too. So that just adds into the defensive improvement as well as limiting foul calls
and turnovers.
And turnovers as well.
We lost to the Blazers. The Blazers had 20 turnovers that game. Did you know that the Blazers had 20 turnovers in the game they beat us? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we had less turnovers than them, and they still beat us.
They still beat us, and that just goes from the offensive side of the ball, where we were not shooting that well at all. We couldn't hit anything. So, I mean, that's what happens when you live by the three and, die by the three.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get those types of games, as evidence in the Warrior game, Game 7.
Yeah.
So
that's what I've been thinking about all week. I've been like, you watch this team's not beating the Warriors, or even like contending with them, even at like their peak, right? Like, let's say Ennis is a stopper, Tucker's a stopper, Capella's being a stop. Like, where's your defense after that?
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know. I mean, you got Gary Clark there, but once again, he's a rookie.
He's a rookie, so you can't put too much on him.
Too much.
It made me really sad to think about. I was like, this team's not.
Morey's going to have to make some moves, and he's going to have to get very, very creative, which is he's one of the most creative GMs in the game. So it's nice to have that card in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see what he does. We're gonna get a ton of rumors. I'm pretty sure heading up to the trade deadline when buyouts start happening. So it's such a long season. I guarantee you the same team that we have now will not be the same team that comes around playoff time.
Heck no.
At all. I think it's going to be completely different. So we're going to have to see it. Just hopefully we continue this somewhat of momentum.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're right in a 2-game win streak, which is nice. It's nice not to be on the losing side of some games.
Yeah.
So you wake up a little bit better, in a better mood.
And sure. I think they can win at least 2 games next year or next week.
Yeah.
I think they can definitely win. If everyone's healthy for it, I think they can definitely beat Indiana if everyone's healthy and kind of clicking. Oklahoma City, I think they can take advantage of that.
I think they can beat Oklahoma. And once again, Oklahoma City also struggled out of the game.
They're really struggling right now.
That's going to be an interesting game. I believe that's at OKC.
It is, yeah.
So we'll see how Melo performs against his former team.
Yeah.
For sure. So it's going to be an interesting road stretch here for the Rockets, and hopefully they can get some of those issues, suppress some of the issues. I mean, I doubt those things will be fixed in a matter of a couple games, but just trying to suppress those mistakes, trusting each other more, getting back on defense. So we got a lot to do.
I'm really excited. This is the last thing. I'm really excited for when Melo goes back to Atlanta, and just all of the memes just start dropping. Like Hawks legend. Like everyone's probably gonna get our Carmelo Anthony jerseys for that. Like I saw something that was like some fan had like a Dwight Howard jersey. Dwight Howard didn't wear number 15 for the Hawks. So I don't actually probably wasn't Dwight, but it was someone's number 15 jersey from last year, a couple years, and they it wasn't even Al Horford. It was their newer ones. But yeah, he did wear it. But I think it was some other person. Actually, you know what? That's probably what I'm thinking. It's Howard because of the H. It was a Horford jersey that they had taped over or written over with Carmelo Anthony, Anthony on the back. And then they taped over that and wrote Carter for Vince Carter wearing it this year.
Oh my god, that's hilarious!
I was like,
I keep forgetting Vince Carter's on the Hawks.
He is.
The fact that he's still playing, him and Dirk Nowitzki, that's just it's crazy.
Personally, I really wanted him to go to the Rockets. Actually, I wanted Carter to come to the Rockets this past
year.
Great
on the Rockets because it's crazy. He still has athleticism.
He's still in 360s in warm-ups. It's crazy.
Wild. He's a specimen. It's ridiculous.
He's not bad. He's not defensively good, but still makes his threes, still can dunk, still is a great leader, everything.
He's a very serviceable role player.
Absolutely. He's transitioned so well. He's aged really well.
40 years old.
He's 41.
41, sorry, yeah, that's unheard of.
He's 41 now, which is even crazier.
That is wild. That is wild.
Dang.
So, yeah.
All right, guys. This has been another episode of Orbital. Make sure you like the video if you liked it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Again, we want to see more of you guys subscribing. These videos do really well when you compare how many subscribers we have, so we want to see you guys subscribe more. Make sure to like the video. Comment what you think about what we talked about down below. What do you guys want us to talk about, too? Give us some suggestions. Maybe we'll talk about it next week.
Absolutely.
We'll see y'all next time.
Alrighty.